show coming from the RAC store. With this back in the Mac in the back flow. Let's go, chillin' with raccoons by the back door. Take calls so you can stake more. All I wanna do is making dough, right? But I found this crew and doing alright. We RAC will bitch, ready to fight. So many raccoons ready for the boss life. I might fly high like a kite, right? But always ready for a shite for the right price. Raccoon supply has the right price. Giving you respect if it's likewise. So I'm buying all the mean guys with the clean heart. Read between lies, laser beam through lean eyes. Warrior with clean lies, trash mouth, mean smile, be wise. NFT wise, fuck with these guys. It's the RAC lab from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC pack from the stash app. RAC will take a lead in this haystack. It's the RAC lab from the back lab.
Good morning, fucking RAC FM. It's Sunday. I don't know the date. Let's just agree to disagree or disagree to agree today. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's find out exactly what is fucking going on. Whom is pulling which fucking strings. And maybe we might get some VIPs coming in. I would hope that. I mean, I'm trying to prompt the fact that, like, look, if you're going to go on a safe fucking space tomorrow, well, come on this one first. So let's just say hello to a few people. Don't worry, Jacob. There's plenty of time for you, dude. Plenty of time. Good morning, Gaines. Thank you for jumping up as co-host.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Very well. I think it's very important to front run tomorrow's events because I have a feeling there may be softball spaces going on tomorrow that might encourage people to follow down the path of an easy vote. I'm just going to leave this thing open to you guys. Like, you guys are all better positioned than me. I'm looking forward to listening to the people who know and the people who think they know, and then I'm going to make up my mind about what I think, right? I'm an open book tonight. Hello, Joe. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Are you ready for this, Joe? I doubt anybody's ready for this, actually.
I've been ready since I got the response, that email response that made me unbond 30% of my Atom.
Right, okay. Well, I'm going to set the room early because, as you can see, it's recorded. And I'm hoping that, early doors, we can, set the scene. So, Gaines, you're a validator. Joe, you're a community voice. Do a lot of stuff online. It's a great, eclectic mix of you two. For the audience and the people listening on the replay, can you guys, between the two of you, kind of just state, does Atom need this? And if Atom does need this, are these the people to run it? I'll go to Joe first, because I know he's quite strongly opinionated. And then we'll go back.
Sure.
I know, but Gaines has got to be a bit more careful, you see, as a validator. But the questions are, does Atom, the basic questions to start off the recording for those listening back, does Atom need this grants, council, blah, 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 Revy at Osmosis? And secondly, are these the right people to be running it? Joe, over to you.
Yeah, so first of all, I voted yes on Atom 2.0. I like the idea of Cosmos Hub having a massive treasury. I like the idea of a grants program. I like the idea. But the way that the props are written always pissed me off. I did question the proposer. I sent him an email with a dozen yes or no questions, and I would say 6 of the 12 questions were complete bullshit answers. And I didn't get a chance to do a Zoom meeting with him, but I will. And here's the thing: I don't have a zillion Atoms staked. You said I'm a community voice. It really doesn't matter, because in the end, the validators are either going to put this through or they're not. I would really like to have a grants program. However, I would like to vote on the individual members who are making the decisions on what to spend the grant money on. And the fact that they consider $1 million grant to be a small grant tells me that a lot of the proposals for money will not be going on chain. And these 7 individuals will have a ton of control over the way that money is going to flow out of the grant fund. We have no idea if they're the right people because I don't see a track record for any of them within the prop. Maybe I missed it. But if you're going to be in control of a treasury, maybe you should have extensive experience with a track record of success in picking winners out of the zillions of people that are going to be coming to ask for grants. That's my only issue. I do like the overall idea of the hub having some type of treasury because I think it's a competitive advantage over some of the other chains. It shows some organization that Cosmos as a whole is lacking tremendously. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know if these individuals definitely think very highly of themselves. I don't know if they can do it. And I think there's major conflict of interest, which, I address in my email with that individual.
Yes, well, we like later on, we will come back to the conflicts of interest because I do know that that's like a bone of contention. Gains on the first couple of points from a validator perspective. Anything to say?
Well, I did already talk to Bendy, which is one of the organizers of this prop, and the answers were kind of vague, right? The answers that he gave me to my questions were kind of vague, and I just don't think it was justice that these people hand-selected themselves or hand-picked themselves to be part of this grants program. That's the biggest issue that I see personally is how come the community didn't get to vote, right? Or why didn't the community get to vote on who's going to be part of this grants program?
So what about the basic question of should the Cosmos Hub have a program? Obviously, are you a yes or a no?
Yes, I'm a yes on that for sure.
Right.
I'm a yes, but there needs to be structure first, and then the grant program second. And I see the Cosmos as probably maybe it's a function of the quote unquote decentralization, but I see Cosmos as a complete organizational disaster across the board. And compared to other ecosystems, I think that investors will overlook Cosmos despite having some of the better, features, some of the more secure bridges and all that. I would like to see structure first, then grants second, but that's just me.
Right. I believe, have they amended, because I'm not up to speed, guys. I'm trying to be open-minded tonight, and I'm not as up to speed as you guys. Have they revised the ask? The original ask, has it been revised?
I didn't see that. I don't think the ask is the major problem for me. It's probably the individuals, the way in which the individuals self-selected themselves and self-negotiated their compensation. The amount of the spending proposals to me is never the major issue. I could, because the money is completely made up anyway, right?
Joe. Sorry, Joe.
Sorry.
Even the part of them getting paid over 71. You're okay with what they're going to get paid themselves too, or are you talking
here's the thing
about the grants?
Listen, I've worked in schools where we hire a full-time grant writer, and their salary is, just as high as anyone else in the school. However, there's oversight to make sure that they're bringing in more value than their salary is actually, covering. So for me, if you're going to pay someone, let's say $100,000, but they're bringing in $1 million worth of value, I'm happy to pay the $100,000, right? But I don't. What the problem for me is all of these people have jobs. These are not unemployed people looking for a job. They all have full-time jobs. So how much attention can they really give this program? Or is this just going to be like, oh, I know this person, so I'm going to direct some funding over there because I know they're nice or I know they're a good person. That's my concern. These are not full-time positions. These are like, once or twice a week, have a couple meetings, and that's the position. I don't understand how this is a full-time gig, because it's not, and that is a major conflict of interest.
What do you think, Ian? I couldn't agree more. There are major conflicts of interest with several members here. And I do want to bring up something, guys. I hadn't even I hadn't even heard of the guy. Apparently, and Jacob, don't worry, dude. We're going to bring you up and give you all the voice time you need, because we know when you start, we all need to sit back and shut up and listen, right, dude? So we're going to get some facts out first, right? Guys, this Bendy guy, apparently, I didn't realize he's only just come on the scene around Atom 2.0. Now, is he just a paid frontman, which we know exists within the Cosmos eco? I mean, we know of several like front people. Come on. I mean, Reena's just a front, if we're all honest. But yeah, Bendy, what do you guys know about him? What's his history? I mean, his account was only created like around Atom 2.0, right?
Literally, when he came into space, I'm like, who the heck is? I mean, I see it. He's seen his name on the prop, right, on the draft, and I'm like, I've never met Bendy, but he apparently said that he's followed Cosmos Spaces like near the beginning, so he's been around. Maybe he just had an alt account, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know his background.
His main, I don't care about his alt. His main account was created, what, September 2022? Is that right? September or August or what?
Recently, yeah, September.
There you go.
Here's the issue that Web3 and especially Cosmos is going to face. Whenever you have these pools of money, people are just going to appear out of the blue who all of a sudden know the best way to spend the money. And when you set up a system of governance, the second thing that happens is that politicians show up to tell everyone what's best for them. This guy Bendy, I don't know who it is. If he's anonymous, he should never be in a prop like this. I don't think he's doxxed, but said he would dox, something like that. There should never be an anonymous person on a multi-sig wallet controlling community funds. If the validators want to set up their own fund from their profits and they want to make a deal like, okay, every validator is going to put aside 1% of all their profits into this fund, the validators can fund whatever they want. The problem is, I don't think the validators actually make money unless they're in the top, like, whatever, 15, 20% of the validator set. And that's why I think it's going to be a very aggressive competition to go after community funds. And the validators are going to be right in the mix because the validators run the network and some of them are probably doing it for free or at a loss. So Bendy could be a second account from who knows, right? That could be Yusef's second account. That could be anybody's second account. We don't know.
He's not. He's straight out of Web 2. Honestly, when you listen to him, he's so corporate. He's straight out of Web 2. Like, literally, this kid hasn't got a clue. Like, if we put him up against Rama, like RIP, I'll see you at the funeral. Like, literally, I listened to the amount of corporate fucking bullshit, jargon, fucking biz speak I heard out of that man's mouth the other day. I was like, I had to log out. I couldn't continue.
I don't want to judge him. I never talked to him. But in general, if he's corporate and he's from Web 2, then he should definitely know better that this is a shit prop that should be written with lawyers and much more back and forth before the prop was even put onto the governance forum. Because this prop is, the way that all of these props are written, they're intentionally vague. So that let's say there's a spending proposal that goes through like this and someone's in charge of spending money. The proposal's written so vague with so little accountability built in that the same individual can continuously hit the community funds, squander the money, and there's absolutely no repercussions, even though they're wasting other people's money. It's exactly like the way politics is in the West. It's exactly the same thing. And I ask questions about oversight, accountability. What happens if the community wants someone removed from this team? And I got bullshit answers from the proposer, Yusef. And even my first question was, all my questions were yes or no questions. Number one, does this cause the hub to be more centralized? His answer was actually quite the opposite. That's bullshit, because you're going around on-chain governance and you have a committee of 7 people controlling a pretty big treasury by most people's standards. And that's because they changed the definition of what's a small, medium, or large spending proposal.
And surprise, Beyonce's husband was pushing it left, right, and center when it first came out. Oh, I'm so pleased the people are getting rewarded and getting recognition. Aye, because I bet you've got a vested interest. I bet there's money going in your fucking back pocket. Whenever that man speaks out in favor of a proposal, I'm always concerned. The minute Beyonce's husband comes out, dude, I'm always worried where he's involved, right?
Well, every single person that is part of any Web3 company is always going to want something like this to pass. And that's just that.
Right. Well, guys, listen. We've got two great people who've entered. Now, Jacob, I know we haven't brought you up yet because I did want to get some context before you went on a mad one because I know what you're like. But also, LitBit is here. Now, I know LitBit is your governance guy. So I would like to bring you up together. But like Jacob, you know, like stay on point, bro. Like, let's keep this exactly where we want it to be headed. We are concerned. We think this is a Sybil attack. It's like, you know, the old boys club yet again. So like, let's play this like gentlemen. LitBit, Jacob, I'll be bringing you up, right? It's up to you guys if you want to come up, yeah. But Jacob, like, stick to the topic. Let's keep it on track. Let's keep the spaces really fucking good today, bro, yeah? Right, LitBit, Jacob, you're up, yeah?
Speak British. Okay, I speak American. Lit speaks British. We should let him do his thing.
Jacob, don't go you racist bastard. After all these years, don't be racist with the British. Come on, it's not my fault, dude. Come on, Uncle Jacob.
I'm just saying, you know, it's a distinct variety of the language, which I don't speak, and I would rather allow Lit to speak your native tongue to you.
Okay. Well, Jacob, at the moment, what we are witnessing, in our opinion, is an economic attack on the hub. LitBit's come up. We'll go quiet. We'll leave the floor to you and LitBit to let us know what you guys at Notional
Why don't you interrogate Lit in his native tongue?
Oh, here
okay.
we go.
If you'd like to, you can interrogate me as well.
I did only just catch the end of what Cosmos Joe was saying. One thing I will say though is that governance has the final say on everything. I do support that prop. I do think we need to take control of funding, and I think we need a grants program, an active, transparent grants program. But yeah, shoot any questions you've got for me with regards to the prop draft that we put up.
Thank you for translating. Very important.
Wait a minute. Right. So the prop that's got involved, the Atom prop we're talking about with Reena and Bendy, etc. We're talking about the same prop, right?
Yes. I mean, I do think we, like a DAO needs to, I mean, if it starts off completely decentralized, it's probably not going to work. So there needs to be some kind of central coordination just to start with. Now, I think the intentions is to sort of move into a more decentralized framework with the right tooling, things with DAO on the way and that kind of thing. But I don't see any reason to wait for that tooling, and I think it's a waste of time to wait for that tooling. But I would like to see that sort of tooling being utilized in the future. Saying that, all those people on the prop, I'll probably vote for all of them. I think they all have good intentions. I know there's questions about the money involved, and I think it's right to question that kind of thing. But generally, I think it's a good idea, and I hope they create a framework that can be used by more DAOs in the future.
Okay. Wait a minute, guys. Right. So I don't know if that's like the official, like, notional standpoint. Joe, do you want to come in on that, Joe?
Whoa, wait.
Yeah.
No proofs. I mean, like, you know, I don't know. Look, we didn't bring him on because, like, he hates our standpoint as a group. Like, Lit and Notional think very similar. And yeah. Thumbs up. Go Lit.
No, that's fine. That's fine, Jacob. But wait a minute. Joe, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, sure. And listen, I understand that some people are going to vote yes for this, and that's definitely their prerogative, right? And I think what we see with all these spending props is that the proposers of these spends, the validators, and then like the regular community members like me, you, we all have different reasons for voting on every prop. So there's never going to be a spend prop that's like 99% yes. As far as the individuals on there, I don't really know. I would like to not see validators on there. Not because they can't do two things at once, but just because they already would vote if if the props were on chain, right? If the spends were on chain, let's say I want to put through, a 50,000 Atom, I want to apply for 50,000 Atom grant, it would go on chain. Now with this grant program, it's going to go to the 7 people that were self-selected. And when I asked if these team members would be removable, the answer was no. So the only way to remove people from the team is to revoke the entire prop, which I think is not, I don't think that's reasonable. You would have to revoke everybody at once, not individual people. And then I did ask, are you willing to change the number of team members, add or remove, if it will help the prop pass? And the answer was no. And this is a little club. It's clearly a little club. And I don't see how it would hurt them to bring on more people that in order to make the optics look better, at least. And then I said, is there a role on this team for a community member who is not a dev? And he said, hopefully, yes. I don't even know what that means. What do you mean, hopefully, yes? Like, what if someone, let's say, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I think this kind of undertaking is massive. I mean, you couldn't pay me to be on a grants program. It's kind of one-way traffic, and you're probably just going to end up with a community.
I agree with that.
So I think the undertaking is that big that they all need to be sort of like on the same page. They need to know what's going on. I see no reason why the initial stages of the initial stages of this grant program is fairly centralized like that. But I would like to see the oversight committee probably opened up to the community, and maybe I mean, to be fair, I think you only need the oversight committee to be mandated by the community. I think they can control the rest of the DAO. Personally, I don't think everyone needs.
I agree with that, and I don't think you were on here when I was talking in the beginning. I think it is a massive undertaking, and it would probably require lots of attention, hours and hours per day. My issue is that every single person that's there has other responsibilities, other duties, and how can they give it the attention possibly, unless they're planning to do this full time, which is a whole nother story. I don't understand how two of the positions are full time, but they're already contributors to the ecosystem. It just doesn't sound right. And the first reply that I saw on Twitter was, I think it was true. These are no-show jobs, and the oversight committee to me, like you just said, definitely needs to be a little bit more well thought out, I would say. But in the end, I don't think the amount of the spend is really the issue, because we all just voted to increase the community tax by 500%.
Right, guys, I do apologize for muting everybody, because Jacob, I know you jumped in there. LitBit, I know you were going to reply. I do want to pay respect, guys, to guests when they join. So we're being joined by Reena, who I really humbly appreciate you being here. We all do, Reena, on RAC FM. Thank you very much. I noticed Jessica's joined us. So Jessica, if you do want to jump up, I have invited you as a speaker as well. So guys, before we go any further, we should reset the room a little bit. And I think it's only fair that we let Reena maybe give some background from her perspective, what she knows, maybe what amendments they've made based on feedback. Before we go any kind of further and log any concerns, let's hear from Reena and how this has been from her perspective, how it started, her involvement, if that's okay, Reena. So guys, I'm going to unmute everyone and pass the mic over to Reena, okay? Hello, Reena.
Hey there. Yeah, sorry for joining a bit late. It's still early morning in Argentina, and also I was trying to get Yusuf and Bendy here because I feel it's necessary to have this kind of transparency with the community, but unfortunately, as soon as it's Sunday, they've got some family arrangements and everything. So I'm looking forward to giving some clarity on the proposal, but I think I'm particularly not the best person about the to talk about the team itself, because I was basically joining in the very end, and so Yusuf and the Better Future Ryan, he was they were responsible for setting up the team, and some time ago I did post this kind of thread about the the general FAQ of the program and everything. So I have to admit, like, we do have some like blank spaces for sure, and some things are not covered, and I'm not sure if it's like, you know, possible to cover everything. But the main like rationale between like, so like, I mean, for the team itself, I think it was just the most efficient way to have someone just to self-organize in a sense, try to push the initiative. And of course, like when I first heard about this proposal, I was just like, oh no, I don't think we can vote for 7 people just at once. I don't think community will be like, you know, satisfied with this kind of thing. And then I was just suggesting the designs, and we've been negotiating and we've been like brainstorming for real. Like we spent like a couple of hours, like couple of days even discussing the possible design, because my idea was also to have this kind of random list of, you know, every applicant to have like randomly voting on proposals, and then having this community representation in the oversight committee. But it seems like it's still, you know, it's not ideal in the end. So like there's always something that is making the design itself very inefficient. And so so like my perspective was to start off with this kind of team, and if the team is not performing well, I was mentioning that we should have like this kind of inclusivity and removability of like the members, right? So like as soon as oversight committee is posting the reports on the performance and everything, so like if you see like this person specifically is not contributing as much as he should. And I also absolutely agree with I'm sorry, Cosmos, what is that? I'm sorry, I cannot see the full name, but in any case, yeah. So we do have like full-time jobs and everything, and I think the general involvement is a bit above like 10 hours, as I was mentioned, and I think I probably already contributed like more than 10 hours. But I do believe like the experience and the skill set of the team itself is very, you know, very well like balanced in a sense. So we do have like tech people, we do have like the contributors, and I think Yusuf is looking forward to spend like full time, you know, the as a full-time job to just, you know, to shape the coordinate everything, and their viewers themselves will be, you know, we'll try to make the structure as like, you know, as balanced as well as possible, so that we can have enough time invested in each and every case. And I also like me and Bendy and also Ryan, we discussed how it's possible to create this kind of, you know, transparency in terms of the you know, grantees themselves. So I thought like, can we do like public demo days, or can we do like, you know, recordings of the meetings, so the cases are so transparent to the community. And I think it's also a lot about the communication, and we definitely, I mean, I think honestly, even if some of the, you know, blank spaces are not like necessarily covered, we do have you know, pretty good job like done in terms of like communication, because we try to, you know, to cover as much as possible in the forum, like the FAQ, and we'll be doing this big AMA session tomorrow. And so I think it will be way more efficient, because I'm still like, you know, just a minor like part of a team. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to covering some, you know, concerns if you have some. But yeah, I've just woke up. I'm sorry if it's like a bit hectic, but yeah, definitely looking forward.
No, don't worry at all. Reena, listen, it's RAC FM. Everyone has a voice. We make sure of this, right? We believe in parity across the board. Every opinion gets voiced, etc. I will say that the vast majority of concerns I've heard about are the connections to like the Atom 2.0 team. And a lot of people think this is like Atom like 2.0, what we would call light. Obviously, like you haven't got like the tokenomics redesign, but you know, there's a tax increase, you know, there's a lot of things that's being discussed. Joe's got his hand up, so I think Joe might want to speak to you, Reena. But yeah, Reena, thank you very much for coming here today. Yeah, great, thank you. Joe, yeah?
Hey, and Reena, thanks for that. You sound like someone who's definitely kind of in tune with, you know, the typical, you know, Cosmos community member, and sound extremely reasonable. As far as one of the other concerns that is not built into this prop that I would like to see, and I would like to see this in every single spending prop, is that there needs to be a defined evaluation method to determine if the grants that have been given do in fact return some value back to the hub. And I think that's how the members of the team should be accountable for. Let's say they give $1 million grant and it ends up being a complete bust, and then they give another $1 million grant and it ends up being some type of huge exploit that costs people a bunch of money. I think that the people who vote yes to spend those grants with those specific teams, there has to be a way for it to come back to them, and the community can say, hey, these
like
people, not slash,
no slashing, Jacob. Come on, man.
I'm talking about the 7 people on the team. If there are the same individuals continuously voting to fund projects that end up being complete failures, they should be able to be easily removed without or replaced. Yeah,
this one,
and that's for every spend proposal. Yeah, no, I think that's for every spend proposal, and that's why I think until those appear in the spending props, I'm going to vote no, even if I like the overall idea, which I do for the grant program.
I was vouching for removability since the very beginning. So I do think we have to perform like well, we have to deliver and everything. So yeah, it's totally doable. And so like even just a bit off top, like it's not directly like, associated with this specific proposal, but I was like, so maybe a year and a half ago, we came up with this like voting constitution for Shtedle 1 specifically. So for us as a validator, how we vote on things, and the level, like the quality of proposals were like, not gonna lie, it was like shit, and just they did not provide any clarity. They did not provide any like budgeting or anything, even in the in the high profile like proposals. So we tried to to provide additional details, but of course I know that it's not necessarily covering everything. So evaluation for the grants that are actually gonna contribute to the hub, it's necessary, and I'm definitely looking forward to knowing about the ways how to do that, because it seems a bit complex, and maybe it will be easier to have this included in the reporting. And if we cannot necessarily evaluate that in a good way, it's possible that we do not do our job well, right? So I think it's something to be improved, of course, but it's just to also see like this proposal has been it's all hypothetical, right? Just we try to have some like data included. We try to have like some possible perspectives on how it's going to work, and how, like, for example, the oversight committee is going to work, how the applicants are going to be interacting with the committee itself. But it's still a lot of experience has to be added to this to this equation just to make it work. So possibly we'll be able to evaluate the value brought by grantees, and having this associated with the like financial data later on. And if it's not working after the phase, it will be very possible to just remove all the members. I don't know, it will be possible to say, okay, you guys didn't deliver anything that you promised. So yeah, and also we've been discussing the saying that we can remove the members on the go, right? So like if they not if they are not very present, or in case the like violating this policy of association, like the policy of the conflicts of interest, it will be also possible, I believe, like we'll have the mechanism to exclude the member. And I also feel important to have the salary data getting public and everything. Just the transparency should be the key for this kind of grant thing. But again, it's still it comes with the additional input data that we're gonna get via having this whole process aligned. Yeah, thank you so much for your concerns, because it's like it's the only way that we can actually shape the good thing and to deliver value. Because I'm not that interested in doing something if it's not bringing value. It's definitely, I'm not risking my reputation for nothing, right?
I couldn't agree with everything you said more. I think that, unfortunately, especially in the current market, I think that this is every single grant that's given out is going to be judged. It's going to be judged by the failures more than the successes. But if there's some accountability and data collection built into these, the successes can also be tracked. And then maybe in a year, the grant program can actually ask for more money and add more members, or maybe split into two divisions where one part of the grant program deals with issue X, and then over on the other side, another team deals with other grants, maybe small, medium, large, some type of breakdown like that, and it would get things much more organized. And I definitely think that everything that you just said, I would like to see that verbiage in every single spend proposal, whether it's related to grants or not.
I do think.
Yeah, totally. Oh, sorry.
I do
just
think
a quick note.
what you said, Cosmos Joe, is right, but I think the tooling just isn't there for that at the moment. And I think that's the biggest problem. So when DAO comes along, you'll be able to make sub DAOs into those DAOs where you can start to build a framework around that kind of.
Yeah, but I think we could be patient, and people need to realize that just because the tooling is not there, it shouldn't hold back a program that definitely could bring a lot of value to the regular staker, or even just the validators as well, who have a big self stake in the network. I don't think to your point earlier, I don't think we need to wait around for tooling. I think it can be done, and what Reena's saying is true. You can make it transparent and fair without that tooling, but then maybe, who knows, maybe this time next year, there's tooling even better than what we thought was going to exist, and we could use it then.
So just a general, we try to do our best to our best knowledge, right? So the things we have available, we'll make sure to get it, to put it in the best cheese possible. So and definitely, we do have some tools that are available, and not necessarily in dev tools or whatever. We can just put up a site, we can do this demo day thing, we can do extensive reports and things, and it will make sense. But we do need to try that, right? So in process, it will be way more transparent. But yeah, definitely valid thoughts, and highly appreciate it.
Can I ask a question? I don't know if LitBit wanted to go next, but I got a question for Reena.
Go on, Gaines.
All right. So let's just say that you guys do approve a grant for a project, right? When do they actually receive the funding? Right away, or how is that measured?
That's a good question. So I don't think we particularly discussed that one, but I think it's also highly dependent on the amount of the grant itself, because of course the normal practice would be the practice that is as approach in various grant programs is to have some amount before to fund the initial building, and then upon the delivery, or if it's a big grant in terms of phases, so initial phase, the second phase, and the final phase. So I don't think they're gonna be a single single approach to that. It's more case based. And so I was also vouching since the very beginnings, because the guys were also very strict on what kind of deliverables there should be. But I think the approach should be case by case, because it's also very it's very negotiable. So I don't have any specific answer to that right now, but I think it will be a case by case approach.
Awesome. I would just love to see a well-written structure on how that's going to be handled, just in case we get a project that is not delivering and we're over here issuing funds outright. I would love to see something well structured.
Sure, 100%.
Tank, welcome.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. I just want to chime in real quick and kind of just ring the same bell that I think a lot of other people are kind of ringing right now. It's my biggest issue right now is just accountability and the lack of detail, which I know sometimes it's a little rough to actually iron those things out in the beginning. But I do think, especially with the previous and current sentiment throughout the greater Cosmos ecosystem, I just, like everybody else has already been saying, I think I need to see a little bit more proactive detailing when it comes to holding people accountable, and also how to ensure that we are going to be getting some sort of value for what we're voting on. But yeah.
And Tank, just to be clear, when you say value, you mean future value for that short-term selling pressure on the token that we're all holding, staking, hoping for the best. Is that what you mean?
Oh yeah. Because that's excuse me. I just woke up not too long ago myself. That's immediately that's what's going to happen whenever these proposals or funds get allocated. It creates a short term, hopefully, means of sell pressure for us to endure. And so for us to endure that, I think that it's only fair that we at least ask or should at least expect some sort of detailed roadmap on how that is going to be mitigated and returned back to us, hopefully with interest in the long term for what we're voting on. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, for sure. We'll try to come up with a kind of answer to that. Because, it's a brilliant, absolutely. Thank you.
Good questions.
Reena, can I ask, is everyone who's on the prop as a validator, who is a validator, would they be abstaining from the vote?
Oh, that was my first question. So we were discussing this and it like kind of a team call, and I was actually asking this question, and so we came up with the idea, and it was actually the idea of Bendy, who's not a validator, he's a community representative. And so he was mentioning that if we're trying to build this kind of value thing, because of course we're working on this to deliver value, he mentioned that validators should also vote on that, even though, because it's not a the project that is associated with any of this validator, right? So it's a common good, and I think it makes sense for validators to vote, but I was also super concerned about that. So we do not want to have this kind of situation as with Cosmic Validator voting on the proposal for funding themselves, but this is more of a common structure, and it's not necessarily dedicated to validators. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you think on this. So we did discuss this question, and it's a valid one for sure, because discussing the conflicts of interest and everything, but the Bendy's arguments were quite clear to me. So yeah, would love to know.
Hey, just on one more time on the topic of Bendy, I usually don't speak for other people, but I will in this case. I don't think anyone considers him a community representative. I think a community representative would be someone like maybe Tenderman Timmy, maybe Tank, maybe Gaines from Cosmos Spaces. I think that your team is going to have a hard time selling him as a community representative.
It's a little bit subjective, though.
Just because.
Guys, I do apologize for muting. I heard a few voices at the same time. There was 3 of you guys. Right, okay. Let's establish a sort of baseline here. I've been in Cosmos for over 2 years. Bendy's just dropped on the radar very recently. I heard his account was, I haven't checked myself, I just was told this, yeah. I heard his account was created right around the Atom 2.0 time. There is a lot of concern that Bendy is a public patsy, a public face. And that's something, Reena, that I think needs seriously addressing in more ways than one. I heard LitBit mention something there. So I tell you what, I'm going to unmute everyone, guys. I'll go to LitBit. If he knows anything about Bendy, because he's a Brit as well. And then I want to go to Joe, because Joe was reiterating what I already know. Right, LitBit, I'll unmute everybody. Dude, what do you know about Bendy? Because he's only just arrived on the thing. No one knows him.
I mean, I got to know him quite a lot over the 2.0, 82 sort of saga. He's...
Yeah, but how did you meet him pre 2.0 saga? That's what I want to know. I don't want to know about what you met.
I don't know. I can't recall that. It was a really messy time. Okay? I can't really.
Well, right, okay. Well, is he a patsy? Is he a patsy? Because the community thinks Bendy is a patsy.
He's got some really bright ideas, and I think he's.
That's not the question. I didn't question his IQ. I questioned where he's come from. We've all been around for 2 years, LitBit. I've only met you in the last few
Yeah, I know,
months.
but that's the
Dude,
thing. It's
I've been
subjective.
around the community for 2 years.
I didn't know that there was a whole horrible side to Cosmos on Jay's side, right? So that became apparent to me.
You didn't say that live, did you? You didn't say that live.
It was a horrible time. Some horrible messages on at that time. But what I'm trying to say is, I didn't know that existed in Cosmos, right? You didn't know I existed beforehand as well, right? So it's a bit subjective on who we were sort of mixed with and who we talked to within the community.
I've been public on CT for 2 years. In Cosmos, I've been public on CT for 2 years. I've got every receipt for everything. But like, where's Bendy come from?
I think you need to
I mean,
get Bendy to discuss.
Where was Bendy 18 months ago? Can you all give me his track record? Was he on an alt? Or what? This is the question. Everyone in the community, guys, everyone in the community is asking who the fuck is Bendy. Sorry, like, dudes. Reena, I apologize. LitBit, I apologize. But everyone's like, who the fuck is Bendy? Yeah, Joe?
Yeah, I was just going to say, as far as community representatives, Notional doesn't get to tell the community who their representatives are. Notional is well represented across the cosmos. I think what's going to happen, listen, let's be honest. For these proposals, you really don't need the community's thumbs up of approval to pass a lot of these proposals. This is going to pass if the validators want it to pass. But in the future, when it's a bull run and there are way more people involved, and platforms like, let's say, Don or Tank or the spaces that RAC FM hosts will have a 10x in listenership, the platforms will be much bigger. And then the community will have a say in these spending proposals that they don't have now. And I think whether or not the details of the prop are worked out to everyone's satisfaction, and I don't think it has to be perfect, it just has to be better than it is now. The next bone of contention is going to be the individuals that make up the 7-person team. And my staked atom is not going to shift the vote. And my platform is definitely not going to shift the vote, right? I'm just as small as everyone else. But calling someone like Bendy and defending him as a community member, I think that's completely out of touch. And it might not matter now. I do think this is going to pass, as with all spend proposals. But in the future, the community is going to have much more sway in these votes. And I think we should be careful about who we call community representatives.
What do you constitute as a community member?
Well, wait one second, LitBit. Corporate Soy is one of the best guys I've met on this. Corporate Soy, you got your hand up. It's imperative you come in, dude. Yeah, come on.
Cheers, Robo. LitBit sort of asked a question there that I think sort of misses the point. He asked, what makes a good community member? It doesn't really matter what a good community member is. It's a community representative. So let's bring this back to Reena. We might as well ask her the question. It's all got a little bit sort of misdirected, hasn't it? So, Reena, would you say that a unknown alt account that's been around since September 2022 is a reasonable representative of the community?
I don't have a question to that. It seems very like manipulative. Like, I don't have any concerns about Bendy like being capable of delivering value for this team. It might not be as representative.
Reena, that wasn't his question. Sorry, darling, that wasn't his question. He didn't ask about his capabilities. He said like the fact he's like an alt account being around for like a couple of months. That was the question. It's not about his abilities that you might have witnessed. It's much more than that, darling. Sorry, I do apologize.
Is it representative? I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that anybody can be like a valid representative of the community, honestly. Even if you're getting like a lot of like traction, a lot of followers, a lot of like input, it's not also, it has its own, side, right? You have like own audience. It's not necessarily representative if we are talking representativity. And of course, we cannot, like 7 of us, we cannot be like representative of all like, community. We underrepresented in sort of like smaller validators as well. So I'm not sure if the question of representativity can be even solve with that. Like with one community member, with two community members, with 5 community members, it won't be able to, to be as representative as we want it. So maybe he's not, but like the question is, can he bring value to this team? Can he like be in touch and communicate to the community? Is he capable of this? I think so, and we are definitely looking.
Well, how would we know that, Reena? How would we know? Because there's no track record. How would we know there's no track record? You can't say that. You can't say to us, believe in me because I believe in him.
Yeah,
Reena, this is the thing. Yeah. There's a big difference. Wait a minute. Wait a second.
Let me put it this way. So I was not, I'm maybe not the person to cover this one, because like I was not in charge for setting up the team itself. But I was vouching to, extend the community representativity in general, to have more people on board. And so maybe it's better to ask like Yusuf why he was like, because I think Yusuf was working with Bendy on this Atom 2.0 thing, and he figured that his ideas might be like very bright, as LitBit was mentioning. So I'm not sure that you can get like answer to this question from my side, but definitely.
Bendy worked on Yusuf on 2.0, right? Okay, I caught that. Joe, yeah, you've got your hand up, dude.
I was just going to say, I think this is a question for Bendy. I don't think this is a question for Reena or even for Yusuf. I think that we could definitely wait to ask this, because listen, I would prefer if the most competent people are on this team. But to your point, we really don't know who he is. It might not matter that we know who he is if this person's going to just be busting it and delivering value. I'm happy to have them on the team, but yeah, I think it's just a question for him. I don't know if we're not going to solve that right now.
100%.
Wait a minute. Go on, Reena.
No, I mean, yeah, so like the question, like why I'm confused on this question might, tell a lot about this, the possibility to represent the community in general. Of course, if it was like obvious, I wouldn't be so, hesitating, right? But I do think he's a good fit, so I don't think I can comment on this like more, but I feel like we just in general need to get more people involved, because yeah, definitely, and from the community side, of course, from the smaller.
Can I respond? Can I respond to that quick?
Guys, one second. Wait, I know whose hands up has been up first. Reena, though, we know you. I've seen you around Cosmos for the last 2 years. This is the point that people are asking. Guys, there's an order. Wait a minute. Soy, then LitBit, then Joe. Soy, quickly, before LitBit.
Yeah. So, like, the question was, why do you think he's a good representative of the community? It wasn't, do you think he's got something to contribute? If you think this guy's like an absolute genius, and he can really, I don't know, like he's brilliant at analyzing propositions, or he has like really intricate knowledge of venture capital or whatever the hell, then make that his title. But I think to call him a community representative as an unknown person who's been around on Twitter for 3 months is absolutely insane, to be honest with you.
It's a kick in the face. Actually, yeah.
I think it's right to ask the question, but I don't think the people are in the room to answer the question.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Well,
I can stand.
Fair enough.
I can say what I think. I've worked with him alongside him with the 2.0 thing. I've got to know him.
Well, that's interesting. What do you mean by worked alongside him?
Obviously, these things that you have like you have one side and the other side, right? And you have to sort of there has to be a sort of a collective.
So he was on your side, basically.
Well, we were supporters of 2.0, and we wanted to see that through, and so we worked together.
I wouldn't really call that working together.
I think if you saw it at the time, and saw the commitment we put in, I think you would differ. And this is also the thing. I mean, a lot of people, and is what I was trying to get at before. A lot of the people sometimes don't see what goes on sometimes, right? And who we mix with, and who we talk with, and how we work together in this community.
I do. I remember both of you very well from the governance groups.
LitBit, I think we know about that. LitBit, I think we know all the backdoor shit that goes on, bro. I think we all know that, right?
And so I think this touches on another point as well. You know, it's like this guy's like come about from being basically Atom 2.0 friendly, and I think there's a fairly substantial portion of the community that maybe weren't Atom 2.0 friendly, but also recognise that, you know, a lot of the members of this sort of group are very sort of synonymous with the Atom 2.0 thing, and there's like some arguments about conflicts of interest, and so, you know, for them to appoint someone who's sort of Atom 2.0 friendly as a representative of the community, it doesn't really sort of add up to me, to be honest with you.
It doesn't.
Sorry, if I'm not mistaken, there are no veto validators who are on that prop now, right? I think.
Yeah, we got Cosmos Station.
Someone's got some bad feedback going on. I don't know what it is, dude. I think, unmute. Joe, yeah?
Yeah, I have to pop off after this, but what I wanted to say was I agree with Reena that we do need more people involved. However, I did ask Yusuf about adding people to the team or changing the number of team members, and it was a hard no. This is a tight group of 7 that's going to be either the prop's going to pass with them or without them. I'm sorry, or the pass is going to prop with them, or the prop's not going to pass, right? And I think just to give Reena and LitBit a little bit of a heads up on what they walked into here, I think these spaces, what makes these spaces good is that we all generally have this shared skepticism for how money is spent in the cosmos, because it's very clear from the outside looking in. A lot of these conflicts of interest are alarming, and alarming because, number one, if this was happening in traditional finance, traditional business world, a lot of this would be probably prosecutable, right? And the other thing is we do know, because it's so transparent, it's almost arrogant that there are so many, let's call them infrastructure players, who also have a lot of influence in the way that money is spent, and a lot of this money is going to be directed to probably the same players who are throughout the ecosystem cashing in on these community pools, these grant programs. So that's what you guys walked in on here. This is why we're like picking this apart, and it sounds like we don't want anything to pass. It's just that it seems like the same old story that, you know, I think is a flaw in the way Cosmos operates as a whole. I think it can be fixed. So even if the prop is written perfectly, there's going to be something to nitpick when you're in one of these groups of these spaces with all of us quote unquote community members.
Bit, I keep on seeing you undo your speaker, so I know I had my hand up, but if you want to go first, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a hard one, because I think, look, Cosmos is quite decentralized. It's even more decentralized than I ever thought when I look at it. And of course, you're going to get teams that are going to work together on something. They know each other. They know what people they're capable of. And I think we've got to be very careful about accusing teams that work together as collusion, really. And we need to get things done. And as I said, I think at the beginning, I don't know if Reena was on when I was talking about how I think it probably needs a bit of a centralized structure to start something like a grants program. That's to get things done. It's probably going to have to be that way, right? So I think we have to be a bit careful about accusing everyone of collusion, especially when we are a lot of the people who are working, who have put these things forward, have actually got the ecosystem to where it is today, right?
That's your word. Those are not my words. Those are your words. And I didn't name anyone specifically, but from the outside looking in, the optics are really bad. And like I said, maybe because it is so decentralized that it's a bit disorganized in the beginning, and it has nothing to do with who was here in the beginning or not. I'm saying from the general community members' point of view, who more or less has no sway over governance, other than our, couple hundred Atom or couple dozen Atom that we're going to be voting with. It's easy to be really skeptical if you've been here long enough to see how some of these things get jammed through. I'm happy that this prop is going to be revised with some community input for sure. But like I said, because of the combination of people that you have in the spaces right now, I think that we'll be able to find an area of opportunity in every every corner of every prop to improve, just to make us feel comfortable that there's going to be some value returned to the community versus some type of extraction of value out of the community to a company that or individuals that just happen to be in the right place, knowing the right people at the right time. That's all. I didn't accuse anyone of anything, and I did not use the word collusion. I just wanted to be clear. You're just in a room full of skeptics and with big mouths. That's basically what I wanted to say.
You're spot. I just wanted to kind of chime in real quickly. I just want to start off by saying I made a post a while ago, and a lot of key important figures within our ecosystem agreed with me actually on this because it's just the hard truth and kind of just goes back to polish the point that a lot of us are already making that, be it what it may, the Cosmos ecosystem has been financially and socially Sybil attacked from the very beginning. And it's just a double-edged sword. It's just the way that it is, right? It's the way that the system's set up. It's just something that we're going to have to deal with. And to Joe's point, a lot of us are skeptics because of that consistent, be it in intentional or not, Sybil attack, both socially and financially, that's been occurring over the years. What we could all agree upon is what we're more frustrated about, and I kind of agree with you, Bits, to a point, to an extent, I guess, that we are so decentralized that it is hard to get something off the ground if it's not centralized to begin with, especially when it comes to forming grants or teams that do high level things like grants or whatnot. But the community obviously is very, very frustrated that they don't have per se a voice, and the going back into the questions as what makes a good representative of for the community. I think obviously to make it very simple, everybody's just frustrated because the people on the team, correct me if I'm wrong now, have already positions of either social or financial benefits that could either be pushed further or expanded upon by this proposal if it does pass. And then we all know, like, it's easy to say, oh, but if you don't like it, you can just have them removed or what. We all know that that's easier said than done. Like, once something gets started, once the snowball goes down the hill, stopping that snowball or even getting people removed from it is much, much harder once it's already started. And I think the people of the Cosmos have recognized that. And again, is one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing so much pushback with these recent, not just this one, but recent proposals that are similar to this. Because, the hard fact is that we're waking up to what is a great benefit, but also a great, Achilles tenet to us or hamstring for us in this ecosystem. And so to kind of go back to just push the point of what makes a good community member or representative on a prop like this, I mean, I think regardless of even if it does get revised, I think we need to have a true representative of the community, what that is to me is somebody that can uphold the fiduciary duty to the community to retain some sort. I'm not saying bring added value to the community, but retain and or protect the value that we've given or bestowed upon these members going forward. We might, it needs to be somebody that is able to say that, hey, I don't actually have these cross interests or these multiple seats of either social positions of power or financial means that might benefit them. And I think that is what creates a really good community representative. So I hope that you guys reconsider. I hope the presenters of the prop reconsiders that and at least adds on or could find or weed out somebody that's within the community that can uphold that fiduciary duty back to the community and or at least communicate it back to the community. Because again, like you were just saying, or I'm sorry, like our friend Bits was just saying, one of our biggest problems is that you guys might be doing all this work and you guys say nobody sees all this stuff. Well, that's your fault. Okay. You guys don't communicate this back. How are we supposed to know?
Let's give Reena a chance, guys. I know, like,
a little bit of a
right, Tank. Don't worry. But guys, I want Reena to be able to respond to Tank first before we bring in Joe, then Gaines. Reena, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, absolutely. I cannot agree more with what you just said. And my only like question is, so definitely like community representative. Yes, possibly we need like more outreach, more of a person that's been within the ecosystem, like pretty known, and has like, the general sentiment on what the community thinks and can get it back to the community. But what would be the best election process then? So I mean, I think it's pretty doable to get another people, like community people involved, and I even highlighted that in the FAQ I've posted. But like, when I think about it, there are a lot of valid community members we can consider, right? And as I've mentioned before, as the community is pretty decentralized as well, how do we make sure that the community member we chosen is actually a community representative that is valid, right? Because, for example, we can get Tendermint Timmy. Sure, he's been around for a long while and we know him and everything. But in the same manner, someone from the other community can say, "Hey, he's not really representing us, and he's not necessarily community representative. Would you consider this person?" And it's just like it's a bit chaotic. So I'm just saying. So like, what would be the best way to do the election in the community, and how do we make it like representative? How do we get the best out of it? So this is my question.
Well, we'll give Tank a minute to think about his reply. So, like your question was like to Tank, like, how do we make this better? Joe, yeah, you want to come in, Joe?
Yeah, I think first of all, everything Tank just said, Terror Spaces should put it into a clip and send it to all of us. So every time there's a question about any prop, we could just play the clip. Everything Tank just said sums up the sentiment of most of these collective concerns that we have in the spaces every single time there's a prop in question. So Tank, thank you for that. Second thing, Reena's kind of asking the same question that we would all have. And I don't know the best answer because she's right. And it seems like she's more in touch with the community than probably everyone else on that team. And what I mean by being in touch with the community is when someone comes in here, they're not completely shocked and surprised at the concerns that we have. So when people are completely out of touch, it's like they can't even relate to questions about their own prop. But Reena, you sound like you're more in touch than most of the people who write the props. And as far as how to pick that person, I think the right person is not going to self-appoint themselves. That's the problem. The problem is, unlike the 7 people who were put together on this prop, the right person to represent the community needs to be nominated and kind of pushed forward into it. And I would like it, if we have a choice, let's just say in an ideal where we have a choice, I would like it to be for someone with a platform like Tanks, or maybe like Don, even though he's a validator, a little bit dicey there, because then he could use his platform to talk about all the good things that the grant program is doing, and that will be the outreach. That will be the quote unquote PR for the program. So anyway, I really do have to jump off.
I know, Joe. I know you
Sorry,
do. Guys. You DM me, Joe. Don't worry. We appreciate you so much. Gaines, over to you. Thank you very much, Joe, for your appearance. Gaines, you had your hand up first, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I'll let Tank go ahead and like answer that question because mine's kind of a little bit different topic.
Okay, then yeah. Tank, keep it short because LitBit wants to come in as well.
Fast.
So yeah,
real fast. I just want to kind of again ring that bell. Reena, I think I just want to say I do think that you seem to be a lot more in touch. So thank you for that, and thank you for being receptive to hearing us out. As far as your question is like how to go about doing that, there is no really good way to be very honest with you. I think one of the closest examples that we had was, what they did with the Juno sub-DAOs, where they had some sort of an election process where, like Joe was saying, people were nominated. It wasn't exactly in the way it went about, in my opinion, the most ideal. But I do think, it is one of those things where the best person would be community nominated and somebody that doesn't nominate themselves. And then you kind of go through that process and weed it out. But like, again, kind of like to agree with you there. I don't know what the best process is, but there needs to be some sort of organic, real community involvement when it comes to choosing at least one person to have a seat on that table. But yeah,
throw your name in the hat. Just throw your name in the hat, because then at least if the prop is not written perfectly, there's somebody who's going to blow the whistle if there's shenanigans. Just throw your name in the hat, please.
I thought you were leaving. I thought you were leaving 15 minutes ago. Oh my God!
I can't.
Work can wait. Fuck work.
Well, hurry up, you two. Hurry up,
I was
you
doing
two.
so good with no cursing.
Hurry up, because LitBit wants to come in. Then I want to go to Soy about the election process, right? So, like, LitBit.
Yeah, I just wonder if it would be better if the oversight committee wasn't chosen by the prop in the first place. So if it was a completely separate thing chosen by the community, I wonder if that would help out a lot more.
Yeah, Reena.
Yeah, sorry. I'm also like I'm gonna hop off, unfortunately, in kind of like 5 minutes, because I was also promising to hop in another AMA for local community, and to my limited language ability,
Don't worry, Reena. Listen, darling. Wait. You're welcome back anytime. I can't thank you enough for your time today. Right?
Yeah, so like just my general question would be, so I'm gonna discuss that. I'm trying to push that the community member thing to the to the team itself. But I think we'll be able, like, even not now, like later on, I would like vouch, because see, like this overall thing is, I mean, I've been in touch with the community, right? I've been trying to bring like the value. I've been trying to build value with what we're doing at Citadel and everything. And so I'm not looking to get involved with something that is not really efficient for the hub, because of course, like it's my own, like it's my own brand, like it's my own like reputation. I'm not looking to doing anything that is actually like violates the morale that I have, like the values that I share with the hub and everything. So definitely, I'm looking forward to getting more community members involved, and I'm trying to see what I can do, because I was also like, I mean, of course, we've been discussing like how do we get the people, and so if we want to do like a public election of people with the applications and everything, it's just like first going to be very chaotic, and it ends up by people still evaluating those applicants, right? And the second is going to be so dramatic, because even if we the community nomination, we don't have like the structured way to vote right now, right? And if we do it like through forum, because some ideas I was thinking about, right? Like Twitter poll, possibly like forum, like that distribute nomination. Even if I build like a portal to vote on like specific candidate, it's going to be, it's not going to be necessarily representative. I mean, even in the real world, it's never, with a bunch of people working on it, it's never working the way we want it to work, right? So I'll give it an additional thought, and definitely you guys have a point. So I'm very happy that you guys are having criticism and valid skepticism, which I personally appreciate a lot, because as I've mentioned, it's the only way to push things forward. And yeah, definitely. So thank you so much, and I was happy to step by today. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a bit hectic, but I'm definitely looking forward to giving it additional thought.
No problem. No problem. Reena, you're welcome back anytime. Honest to God, RAC FM will welcome you back with open arms. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Interesting. Games. Hello.
Hey. I'll
Did we
ask you in
lose
the
Soy?
DMs. So you there?
Did we lose Soy? Did we lose Soy or not?
I'm here.
Okay, Soy. Give me your overview on this evening so far. The answers and blah, blah, blah. I mean, listen, you have to be very careful, guys, when projects or teams or whatever put up like public, like what we would call like a public pin cushion. I mean, I've been there before where there's like a lot of words, but like the substance can be like extremely like lacking at times. Anyway, I got some juicy gems tonight. I did find out that Bendy had been working on 2.0, etc., etc. I found out LitBit. So wait a minute, LitBit. Let's find out.
Wait. I don't think Bendy was working on 2.0. Bendy was
no, he was working on publicising.
Yeah, we were supporting.
He was working on getting it out there.
We were supporting 2.0. We spent a lot of time supporting it.
Bendy mainly sort of came out of the woodwork after 2.0, as far as I'm aware, and basically tried to sort of I don't know, redirect it, get it sort of back on track, and he was basically trying to come up with something to sort of progress. This sort of vision for.
Let me clarify. Yeah, obviously we wasn't working on that paper. It was the paper was released, and then we read it. We supported a lot of it, most of it, and we helped with publicising it. That's what I meant by working on it, and that was from the release of the paper onwards, up until the prop was released. 82 was released.
And look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with what he's done. Like the guy seems like a nice enough guy. It's just this question of when you've been around for 5 minutes, do you represent the community? If you've never been on a space, do you represent the community? If you haven't got any sort of public platform, are you able to represent the community? And I would sort of lean towards no on those questions.
That's totally understandable. That's totally understandable. I think for me it's hard because I do know him and I've worked and I speak to him quite a lot. It's hard for me to see it from that perspective, but I totally understand your guys' perspective from that.
Something, LitBit, though. Sorry, 1 second. LitBit, this is the thing. This is the problem that we're encountering time and time again. People say, "Oh, well, I know him. He's all right," or "I know her. Or I know them. They're all right. I've worked with them before." And it's so like, from a community perspective, anyone that's not within that inner circle, you can imagine it's like a time and time again. It's like, all right, here we go again. I mean, this, like, Joe summed this up in the DMs to me. 1 second, Gaines. Joe said to me, this like seems to be Atom 2.0 light, with the community tax situation, and you can see a little bit what the community's thinking about this shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the main criticisms of 2.0 was there was just too much in it, right? I think this is probably a slimmer, maybe not the same, maybe a slimmer down version. I don't think it's the same. I think it's more specific, and I think that's what the community needs. And I think that was the biggest problem with 2.0, was that it wasn't specific enough, and the community really didn't know what it was voting for. I think this prop tells you exactly what you're voting for.
Yeah, I just think, again, I think there's just a lack of thought in the approach.
So it's a lack of trust. Like, that's what I'm hearing.
It's not necessarily a lack of trust, right? It's a lack of thought about approach. How do you bring something in like this? You bring it in slowly, you bring it in easy, like put some community polls up first on like Twitter first to like gauge some sentiment. Anyway, I'll shut up. Gaines, yeah?
Isn't it kind of like just strange how they don't even have the part of how they're going to vet the projects, and like how is each project going to be accountable for delivering said and said whatever? Like how can they plan this prop without having that fleshed out and planned out the way it's supposed to be? Just someone please inform me how that's even possible.
I think that's a valid point, and it sort of ties in with this question that's kind of occurred to me from what LitBit said then. I think most people would sort of recognize that there's an element of this like supplants Atom 2.0, right? Would that be fair? Would you mind just clarifying a little bit what exactly you said about
Atom
that?
Atom 2.0 light, if you take into account the community tax that's just been invoked, yeah.
So what's your take on it, LitBit? Do you see some sort of like similarities between the two?
Not really. I think it's funding grants. I don't think Atom 2 had anything to do with funding actual grants or anything.
You didn't say it, LitBit. You didn't say that a minute ago, mind. And I'll be able to go back on the tape and check you out, dude. You didn't, dude. Just be careful, LitBit. You did wait a couple of minutes ago. You didn't say that. You agreed it was a 2.0 light.
I do think we are going into the direction of 2.0 anyway. I personally think we're going to be doing that. I think the community will come round to that, and I think it will happen in stages and won't happen all at once. Whether this is part of the stage, I don't know. This wasn't really in 2.0, but the spend, maybe a few of the people that's on it. But then, as I said, you have validators who vote no or veto on this prop as well. I generally think the problem with 2.0 wasn't its contents, but it was probably just too much. And I think it's probably wise to be more specific in props. That was my biggest takeaway with 2.0. Whether you see it as a 2.0, I don't know. That's done. Yeah, I can't help you with it. I can't answer that really. But yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, he just sort of backtracked. I guess my question isn't really there anymore. It's okay. I'll let it slide.
That's all right. I'll pick up.
I mean, what was your
and
just out of interest, what was your biggest issue with 2.0?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I had a few. I guess the main one was, as you said, it was just like too much all at once, and I didn't agree with the entire prop. I didn't agree with absolutely everything in it, and so my point is that if you don't agree with something, you should vote no, and then hope that they come back and revise it. And so that's why personally I wasn't supportive of Atom 2.0. I didn't agree with everything that was in it, so I didn't want to sort of rubber stamp that.
I think the fact that Yusuf is involved in this new one and being such a fundamental voice in 2.0, and then like other things coming out about like Bendy and that now. I mean, I'm not going to say it's like doomed before it starts, because the validators, like it was stated earlier, the validators can like swing this quite easily. It's all down to the community about like, I mean, let's be honest, the validators could have pushed 2.0 no problem. The community is what stopped 2.0, isn't it? Let's be fair in this room right now. It's the community that stopped 2.0.
and a massive validator, yeah.
Well, you can say that, but I mean, push back.
49 validators. Like we can mess around with like wallets and this kind of stuff. No one really knows what that means. You get spam wallets and stuff like this. But if we look at the actual vote, 49 out of I think it was 49 versus 69 versus I don't know the remainder in terms of the validator set in terms of who voted on that. So ultimately the community was, if we're just looking at the validator votes, which I think sort of is a fair representative of the community in that respect. I think, at best we had a very fragmented take on that prop. And so I don't think we had consensus. And for me, like the right thing happened in the end. That's not to say that I don't want to see the hub, progress and have value added to it, and that something shouldn't be done. I'm very much of the thought that we do need to make progress, and it's possible that this grants thing is part of that progress.
Yeah.
But certainly, I think at the time it was, in hindsight, probably the right outcome.
Also, I don't think, just to touch on that as well, I don't think it's wise to have a prop just passing. I think it just sets you up for failure. So if you have that amount of people, and if it just passes, you have that amount of people, you're going to have a lot of criticism, and you're probably doomed before you even start.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. A quick question. Yeah, Gaines, 1 second. Very, very quick question. Right, LitBit. Pretend everyone in the audience is a pleb, right?
Yeah.
And let's say they're on the fence. Wait, they're staking at them. They're on the fence, right? I know it's not on chain yet, blah, blah, blah. But let's pretend that like people are on the fence. What would be the for or against? So if you're for, then what would be the pitch? If you're against, what would be the pitch? I take it you're for, but like in the simplest of like words, why is this effective or productive for Atom, the Cosmos Hub?
I think it's effective because we have a situation in the past where we've had sort of funding programs, and it's been quite opaque as well, who's controlling them. I believe this is a way for the community to take back control in where funding grants go, and actually having the community as a whole having access to grants as well, and in a transparent way, which I believe has been a massive issue with, I don't really want to name them, but obviously you can tell sort of the messiness of the past and that kind of thing. So I think this is actually a way for the community to take control of its finances and grants and things like that, and have a more transparent system.
Fair play. So we're sidestepping. I mean, guys, he can't say it, but I can. This is a way of sidestepping effectively the ICF, I believe. If you have to go there seeking out grants. So yeah, any update before we go to Tank and Games? Because Games had his hand up, but I want you to
whoa. I'm not walking into that question. I will. I don't think it's anything to do with the ICF. It's a very sort of separate issue. Yeah, not really got much more to say on that, to be honest.
Well, where does the grant come from previously, right? So why do we need a new grants program if we have one going? What's wrong with the previous one? So it has something to do.
Well, what are you saying that ICF is a grants program?
They have a grants program, or had one, which is currently on pause.
Sure, but it's not like sort of community backed, is it?
Why shouldn't it be? I mean, it's not community backed, it's not community funded, but why should the community not have access to that?
Well, why did we bother increasing the community pool? Like,
exactly.
if it was already
because it's not working well.
All right. Well, then let's go back to your favourite subject, Atom 2.0. Why do we need to mint 60 million atoms if the ICF is a grants program?
I think the idea with the 60 million atoms was to have sort of reduce inflation, like almost effective immediately, and then have that runway so we don't have to bother looking at sort of minting more or raising or in future and have that there. It was another one I was supportive of because it puts the community more in control of their funds and where they can allocate funds. I mean, I also want to see governance not micromanage funding. I want to see governance get out of the way of that, and hopefully we can have people who are more have the expertise in funding doing that for us. Because I don't believe, even myself, I don't believe we always have like the right expertise to decide where funding should go and how it should. And I think we should be employing people as a community to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree. I would kind of say that the community should elect those people. They shouldn't be self-appointed. But I think to an extent that this sort of grants program solves that. But we were sort of digressing away from the point about the ICF. I must admit, like, to be honest with you, I get a little bit confused as regards like what's ICF, what's Ignite, what's Tendermint, what's Youth Tendermint, what's AIB. I don't know. I get a little bit lost in all that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably down to sort of transparency, right? And before I joined Notional, I probably didn't see as much as I see now. And I think communication and transparency from that side needs to be a lot better. Which it isn't at the moment, and I think they know that as well. But again, it's can we wait for ICF to get all their eggs in one basket and all their eggs together, and actually do something for the community, or do we have to? And actually, they do a lot, and in terms of things that the community don't see. In terms of infrastructure and things like that. But in terms of direct community funding, we don't see too much. Which is also our problem at Notional, and which is the reason why this week we released that draft to try and get some community feedback, because we're kind of out of options of where we want to go as well.
Oh, did you think that was? I mean, LitBit, were you involved in that? Just out of curiosity. I mean,
I was involved in the decision of going to the community. It's something we've spoken about for weeks, and the idea. I wasn't directly involved in that draft, but I am now. I mean, I'm involved in that what happened beforehand, but in writing that draft, I wasn't involved.
Yeah, that was a weird situation. This came up the other night on a space. It was unrecorded, but Jacob showed up, and I noticed you had another guy he was in the crowd earlier. He was on as well, and we were talking about this, and it was just I think it's a very strange prop, and kind of aren't you like the governance guy for Notional?
I am, yeah. I am.
So okay, so you weren't really involved with this prop, this like really controversial prop, but you're the governance guy for Notional.
No, I was involved in discussion of doing this prop. I wasn't involved in the actual writing of this prop directly. A lot of the things in there we had put together previously.
It sort of came across to me as like I don't know, like more like a marketing stunt than an actual genuine request for $1 million from the community.
Completely about feedback. It's completely about community feedback. This prop, and we've got really, really good feedback. And I hope, which I am now. leading the next draft. So I hope to incorporate much of that feedback, and I think there's going to be more specific, clearer, more clarity over our intentions, and I hope it's received well. But yeah, the feedback.
Yeah,
feedback
cool.
we got back
Look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I think I've sort of said my bit, so I'm going to step down. But
no, sorry,
I'm
guys. No, I want to wrap the spaces up. I do know that Gaines had his hand up earlier. I'd like some closing remarks from everyone. Hello, Gaines. Hi, son.
Thanks, Robo. Just something that didn't sit with me well there when we had Reena on was how she was talking about the validators and how they would probably vote and allow them to vote on this prop, and not just thinking about the conflict of interest there. There's 4 people that are going to be reviewing the grants, right? And they're all validators. They're all part of a validator team. So we have Imperator, Citadel, First One, Cosmos Station. I just want to see right here in this space, give me a thumbs up if you agree that the validators should vote whatever way they want for this prop, and give me a thumbs down if you think that they should vote abstain. Let's see what the community thinks. Abstain. Okay. I'm on the abstaining side. I think that they should vote abstain. I don't think they should let them vote however way they want to. I mean, I don't know. That's just me.
The only thing about abstain is it counts towards quorum, right? Doesn't it? Yeah.
There's some big validators. Some big validators on that prop as well, which yeah. I think.
But the thing is, like, I've seen abstain help props to pass before.
Yeah, I mean,
good point.
I plan to advise Notional to abstain from our own prop if we do end up making one. That's a position that we'll probably take.
I'd rather a no veto, or just a plain no. But like, no, I mean, no veto is strong, but just a plain no, because
the idea is to leave it down to our delegators to decide on our own prop, really. So it's not really a decision of making a decision. It's more about leaving. It's a conflict of interest because we're the ones putting a prop up, and it's allowing the people who delegate to us to vote.
Okay, so guys, right, I just want to like highlight something or bring something up here. It was Chinese New Year, so Bendy couldn't come on. He did say he would try and come on late, which he wasn't obviously able to. Reena's said a little bit of time, which was great, but we've front run the Terror Mob, right? So 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe. Is that right, Gaines? That's right. Monday morning,
correct.
9 a.m. Eastern Standard
Will you stop
Time.
eating
Monday.
things?
Wait,
Go outside.
Tank.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right, Tank. You're right. I muted your mic there, dude. Don't worry. It happens to us all. So, yeah, guys, tomorrow there should be what I would call the corporate show. No offense, corporate soy. There should be the corporate show because Seffi's going on. Seffi's hosting, and then I think obviously I presume Bendy, Reena, Yusuf is going to be on there as well. So we'll see if there's hardball questions, or we'll see if it's all softball shit, won't we? I think by the time we all what's that? That's tomorrow night my time. So in about 24 hours. Is that right, Gens? About 24 hours, they're on the show, yeah?
So, yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, which was just kind of weird. I would have preferred them to, schedule it with the community over here on Cosmos. I know it's kind of
that's why we front run them. That's why we front run them. And we got Reena on as well.
You, Robo.
That's the most important
appreciate
thing.
you for hosting the space.
No, we front run them though, dude. That was the whole plan. We did it. We pulled it. Gaines knows another RAC FM scoop. We front ran Seffi. So Seffi, dude, if you listen to this and it's on the thingy, I'm sure Finn will put some sound effects in. Hey Seffi, El Cheppy, this one's for you, brother. Boom. boom, motherfucker. Anyway, I love the kid. Like, he's coming on the show in 2 weeks. Not this Friday, but next. Ryan and Steffi's coming on. That should be gas on the Friday. Right, let's wind this up, guys. Finn's in the DMs. He's loving it, but he's like, wind this shit up. LitBit, thank you very much, bro. Like, respect where respect's due. You come on, you know, dude.
It's always a pleasure.
Stand your ground.
Always a pleasure.
Hey, you know, hey, LitBit, us Brits, we stand our ground. We back down from no cunt, right? That's us. Exactly.
LitBit, really quick, dude. Do me a favor, man. Since you're probably more in touch with the interchain people and stuff, can you ask them when fucking foundation delegations, dude?
Yep.
Like, they got the community over here just wondering where that's
I asked them the
right
other
now,
day.
you know?
They're not too sure.
What
They don't know. I mean, I think about.
Hey, when you ask them LitBit, can you slide them $5 and just cough Cosmos Spaces, just like gently in their ear? I'll give you $5.
Will do.
Do you know what though, LitBit? Well, LitBit, when you think about it, right? What people need to do in this situation, what they're talking about is look back over the last 12 months, right? What have Cosmos Spaces done? That's without the validating services, the relaying services, etc., etc. They haven't cashed out, they haven't sold anything, and then look at the community content and knowledge they've like provided to the average player, right? It's insane.
Have you
like literally?
Have they applied? Did they apply for grant for a delegation?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely,
what sort of data did they ask you for a list of what you contributed, right?
Excuse me?
So did they
ask
for a list of contributions?
Yeah, we provided everything. We filled out the form. We provided everything, man. We spent some time just listing out all the contributions. You know, we do a ton of spaces in English. We do spaces in Spanish. So yeah, we gave them all that information. It just sucks that they kind of just have us like an unread right now. Yeah. We don't know what's going on.
I think there's a lot of things going on, and they're trying to straighten out. I know the consensus rug hasn't helped matters either. But yeah, we're on the same boat.
That's another thing, LitBit. What about the people that are part of the reviewing team of this grants program, right? What happens to their foundation delegations? Are they going to still receive foundation delegations or not?
Yeah.
We haven't explored all these things.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think it's all the questions asked today are definitely valid, 100%, and they should have answers for it, right? As I said, I'm a supporter of the prop, but I have very little to do with the prop other than them supporting it.
I got a DM that I just want to just read really quick. Someone said, why not let the validators vote the way they want and just tell people if they're not happy with the way they're voting to undelegate? I don't think they're going to do that, bro, especially since they're super high up on the validator side. I don't think they'd risk losing a ton of stakers to their validators. So I'm not sure about that one. Did we lose Robo? I think we might have lost him there. So let's just wait until he comes back and.
I'm fine, dude. I'm fine. No, I'm
there?
fine. I thought I'm fine. I think we've lost LitBit. You were talking LitBit, and I think we've lost them. Guys, we're going to wind it up. Tank, any closing words? I think there's a long journey to go with this prop. I know it's not on chain yet.
I just wanted to say thank you, Robo, for putting on the space, always hosting good conversations, meaningful and important conversations. And of course, Gaines and everybody else who's participated and brought up their concerns and spoke. I agree with you. I think we have a long way to go on this. There's, it kind of comes down to, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to rant on, but I have several issues like a lot of other people do. Like, do we actually have control of the process? And that's kind of like my biggest thing is like, this is supposed to be a community driven effort. This is supposed to be a play to where the community kind of gets its way in saying things and doing things. But the way that this is presented right now, we don't even know the processes of how these things are going to get voted on, how the reviews are going to be taking place. We don't even get to have a say on who gets to be on these things. Like really, it's just a play on words, like, right? Like, oh, transparently be with the community, but like, we don't really get to interact. still. Like we're not really in control. So I still have, not saying that we don't need it. I'm in favor. I think we need a grants program. I think we need a community grants program in like in everything that it is. But it's hard to get there the way that this is presented right now. I hope that we do. And we're going to get there with Robo and RAC FM and Cosmos Spaces and people like that hosting these kind of discussions where we actually get into the nitty gritty and actually ask the hard questions. So thank you. I just want to say thank you. And thank you, LitBit, for your input. Yup, everybody else. Appreciate you guys.
Cheers, Tank Bro. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate everybody. And guys, I will reiterate a bit of what Tank said there, right? Because I'm going to wrap it up now, yeah? RAC FM is here for everyone. Like, literally, like, we are like Switzerland, and we're going to remain this way and ensure that, like, every single fucking voice and opinion is heard, regardless of what our, like, you know, recency biases or whatever else, right? We're not going to go down that route. Gaines, go on, close out the show, Gaines. It's the first time you've closed out RAC FM with some nice words. Go on, dude. Close it out.
Thanks for tuning in to RAC FM, your host, Robo. Everybody have a great day. And please provide feedback to this draft prop. It's very important that your guys' voice is heard. So please provide your feedback, and I'll link the forum here in this space. You'll see it in the comment section in case somebody missed it.
Beautiful, Gaines. Right, guys, we will be coming back. We should be back on Monday, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? But don't forget, this week coming up, guys, RAC FM, we've got a scoop, yeah? We have the NFT roundtable with fucking 6 calls. I mean, I'm not going to say it's like 6 calls. Like, I'm not going to label them as key opinion leaders, but it's about Cosmos IBC. It's about NFTs. We've got 6 amazing people. That will be, it's a change, guys, for you Americans, yeah? It's going to be the nighttime show. It'll be 9 p.m. on Tuesday. So, Jesus, in the same day, you guys are going to get like 2 RAC FMs. The normal RAC FM, the short one, whatever. We might cancel it, actually. And then the round table. That's coming up this week. I'm really excited about that. Youngster is going to be like one of the first like guest moderators. Like, I can't wait for fucking this guy's mind. I'm so excited. As always, though, RAC FM will continue to like break ground, get people together, chew the fat. Like, we want to be part of the same community. We might not all agree, but like, we're going to come together and thrash it out one way or another, aren't we? And I'd rather do it this way than just like shit posting about one another, like, and not being able to talk. So that's what it is, isn't it? It's a conversational meeting point. It's like the 5 points in the 1860s New York, yeah? It's the meeting of the 5 points. We all come together. We all break bread, right? We're all adults, yeah? We can sit down. We can discuss this shit. So whatever you do, though, just keep talking to people. Keep reading, keep listening, keep soaking in information. You know, if you think one person sounds correct, didn't believe them, go and find another voice, like spread yourself around. And so, yeah, thank you tonight to Gaines, LitBit, Tank. We've had everyone up there, Reena, obviously, shout out, the Soy, or Corporate Soy. Guys, take care. It's Sunday night. I'm going to log off, hug me dogs, and watch some Lord of the Rings. Right? See you all on the other side. Take care.
It's the RAC show coming from the RAC store. With this back in the Mac in the back flow. Let's go, chillin' with raccoons by the back door. Take calls so you can stake more. All I wanna do is making dough, right? But I found this crew and doing alright. We RAC will bitch, ready to fight. So many raccoons ready for the boss life. I might fly high like a kite, right? But always ready for a shite for the right price. Raccoon supply has the right price. Giving you respect if it's likewise. So I'm buying all the mean guys with the clean heart. Read between lies, laser beam through lean eyes. Warrior with clean lies, trash mouth, mean smile, be wise. NFT wise, fuck with these guys. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC rap from the stash app. RAC will taking lead in this haystack. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC back from the stash app. RAC will taking lead in this haystack. Blast that RAC rap from the stash app. Supplying the raccoons with a headbang rap. RAC gang with the RAC will slang like a trash can. Hoodie with fangs and a gold chain. It's either RAC will or the red pill. Best chill while we get into the first meal. Best feel, best devs with the best skill. No shill, all real, secret is a great deal. RAC will insane, Shane better stand fast. Robo shooting his tweets with straight facts. Knowledge from the street, with the best plan yet. Winston gotta eat if you retweet that. Free of a live feed from the base camp. McKenna always ready if you dare that. Buying all raccoons for his rare stash. Trash panda biker gang, motherfucking hashtag. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC rap from the stash app. RAC will taking lead in this haystack. It's the RAC rap from the back lab. 100 NFTs in my backpack. Crazy RAC back from the stash app. RAC will taking lead in this haystack.
TerraSpaces.